The scene begins with Shahed's radio interview starring the celebrity Coco Chanel and baseball player Babe Ruth. During the interview, they will be touching topics that go in relation to literature, poetry, and baseball. Before going into the scene, it's important to understand the ways in which radio itself has impacted our society over the years. In relation to our culture over the years, radio has become our own unique way to connect with society in a way that becomes more efficient to fit our lifestyle. Radio has allowed us to connect to the world in a faster way that beats any other way that may have bombarded society in the past. The idea of radio became more than just a modern way to receive information. Radio became a way of life for most of our population. Radio became an effective lifestyle that allowed us to combine creativity and prosperous modern aspects into one format that became effective in its own form.
S Hits. I'm your host, Shahed. Today we have two special guests, Babe Ruth and Coco Chanel. He led the New York Yankees to several World Series titles and became a national hero on the strength of his home runs. You look very king today. Wow, 60 home runs? Man, you had that 59 and that number 60 was sure rising as the sun. Everybody, please give Babe Ruth another round of applause.
I know, I was so happy. It took a lot of hard work and dedication.
You started your last season with a pretty bad start.
Well, I had plenty of bad pitches heaved at me all spring and summer long, but I battered my way through the ducky pitching right to the last.
Well, we'll be going on commercial, but we'll come right back, and Coco Chanel will be with us.
Hi, I'm Harry Styles from the band One Direction. Our new music video, History, is out now. Go watch it!
Welcome back to S Hits. Our next guest today is Coco Chanel. Well, you look dolled up today. So what inspired you into changing the fashion world?
Well, thank you. And I believe that fashion is not something that shouldn't exist just in dresses, that it's something that's in the sky, it's in the streets, it's like in what's happening today. So it shouldn't just be in dresses.
So what would your idea be of success that would inspire others to strive for more in life?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that my advice would be to not spend your time banging on a wall trying to make it into a door, because everything and success takes time. And sometimes success is given to those who don't know that failure is inevitable.
What are some accomplishments that make you happy about your success?
Some accomplishments that make me happy to this day would be including how I was really surprised about how I was able to overcome sentimental hardships and turn them into success.
What is your thoughts about poetry?
I was really surprised about how I was able to overcome sentimental hardships and turn them into success.
What else have you gravitated towards poetry?
I was genuinely and naturally driven to poetry because of how it expressed deep emotions. And I guess that's what drove me into wanting to get into poetry in general. And what I mean by that is that, my hat boutique became a full-fledged clothing store and catapulting my fashion career. And I would genuinely agree with the fact that poetry was a part of a very dynamic era that was known as dynamic and modernly expressive during the time. And I would also agree that it comes from a dynamic decade that portrayed much enormous change.
Do you have any advice to give?
Last piece of advice for anyone out there is that if one would like to be irreplaceable in any sense, one must be different.
Thank you, Coco, for being with us today.
The 1920s were a fabulous decade of dynamic social and political change. From these themes, we've learned that the era was a time full of change and stepping out of your comfort